So 30 days ago, we started a challenge, and now we have 500 less personal items than we did when we first started. This is how we did it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video with Gab and Bren. If you're a new viewer, welcome to our channel. We love to have you here. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support, as it means so much to us. So let's get into this challenge. So this is the hashtag Less Is Now challenge. We started this because we watched a documentary on Netflix by The Minimalists that was called Less Is Now. And I'm not gonna get super into it, but pretty much you gotta get rid of one item that correlates to that number of day. So day one item, two items, day 20 items. So when we first started this challenge, we made a video on it that we'll put a card up here. So you guys can check that out for a more in-depth view of why we started and how we went about it.
So just to start, I wanna say how excited I was to start this minimalist challenge. The idea of it really being that everything that is in our place of living, everything around us, should have a purpose. And if it doesn't have a purpose, then we decided to get rid of it. And really this just simplifies our way of life and makes much less stress going through our day-to-day lives. So, starting off in the beginning of this challenge, it was pretty easy, to be honest. Like, getting rid of one thing a day, like 2 things, up to 5 things, like it was no big deal. I feel like I could just look around, close my eyes, and just point at something to get rid of, and really we wouldn't feel the effects of it. Once we started to get around day 10 or day 15, that's when we started to get a little bit more serious. So we started by going through our clothes was a big one. We had, me specifically, I can say, I had a lot of clothes. It wasn't like that many clothes, but for living in an RV, it was probably too much. So I kind of reverse engineered how we went about going through our clothing items. So how we did this was really, I took a step back and I thought about how many shirts should I realistically wear before having to do laundry and getting those fresh clothes again. And I thought, like, never really am I gonna need more than 14 shirts. So like a good 2 weeks of going, like wearing a new shirt every day, and then you wash after 2 weeks and get a brand new fresh set. So I set this 14 shirt minimum, and everything over that point I got rid of. So basically I just looked over, I think I had like around 40 shirts, and I picked my favorite 14.
Over a month full of shirts with no laundry.
Okay. It is pretty easy to collect things over time. Like, I wasn't aware of how much that I had just because we had the space for it, and if you have the space, like, you're gonna fill it up. So what I did, like I said, was just pick my favorite 14, and the rest I decided to either sell or donate. And doing this kind of thing just made the challenge a lot easier because it was really just thinking about, like, okay, what do we actually need, and then cut the rest. It wasn't like we were looking around and like, what can we get rid of? Like, let's just get as many things as possible. It was really just focusing on the value first and like cutting the fat.
Totally. And something that we learned from doing this challenge is that in the Minimalist Less Is Now challenge, what they advise is that you have to get rid of, say, day 15, you have to get rid of 15 items. And then by midnight that night, you have to get rid of those items. So whether that's donate, sell, recycle, etc. But what we found is that it was pretty mentally draining to get rid of items on a daily basis. It was like, it just kind of felt like you had another task to do every single day. So we really took advantage of weekends, because essentially you had 4 like weekends throughout this challenge. So when we hit a weekend, probably around, say, that day 15, so 2 weeks in, we took a weekend to kind of just like purge. And we were like, okay, like, we're going through all of our clothes now. We're going through all of our kitchen pantry now. And so through that, we kind of gave ourselves like a line of credit, if you will. So say on the day that we decided to clean out was day 15, in that one day, we would probably count almost, I don't know, like almost 100 items that we could get rid of. So then that credited us for pretty much the rest of the week so we could think clearly. But another benefit of that for us is that on that day that we purged, we posted everything that we could, like that we thought we could sell. And so then that gave us the entire week, because we just threw the stuff in the back of our car trunk.
Yeah, our trunk served as our buffer space where we did count it as an item, but it wasn't physically gone yet. So we just used that like about a week of buffer time to see if we could sell things, and if we couldn't, then we would donate.
Exactly. So nothing in this process went to waste, which is amazing. But with all the things also that we sold, I mean, how much money did we get?
I think we made like $800.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And guys, from this challenge that we've done, it's crazy because we got rid of over the limit. I believe it's what,
465?
465 items that with this 30-day challenge, that's how many items you get rid of. By us doing this, we got rid of like 500 items, probably over that. I will say though, like towards the end, I think it was day 28, we were struggling in our own place. So I have the advantage that my parents live close by, literally like 300 feet that way. And they still have like my bedroom with all of my stuff still in it. And there's some nice memorabilia, I'll give it that. So, I mean, I'm not being rude in any way, but I still had clothes there. I had like really useless stuff there, to be honest. So I kind of use that to count towards, because the point of this is your personal items. So it's just how much weight are you really carrying. It doesn't have to be just in your living space, because if it was just our like living space, I don't know if we would have reached this number. But by going to our personal items, I mean, if you have a storage unit, like go take a look at that, right?
Yeah, no, I gotta say, like Gabby mentioned before, we spent weekends to go through stuff. Every time that we set aside a time to go through stuff, like it was quite addicting. Like we'd get into it and we had to go through the whole room at once and like really just get through it because
You good? Keep going. One sec.
Okay guys, I gotta say it feels so good at this point to be where we are right now. Like during the process, going through stuff, it did become addicting, to be honest. When we started going through a room, like we wanted to finish going through and go through the whole room and see what we could get rid of and start racking up that credit for our whiteboard. But at this point, after getting rid of 500 things, like really there wasn't anything that I miss right now, like nothing of extreme value that decreased our way of living at all. And we have an extra $800 in cash.
So guys, after getting rid of a lot of these items, it really allowed us to not only declutter our space, but kind of declutter our minds. And what I mean by that, by now that more of our items have like this intentional purpose behind them, we realize things that we really want. We realize things that are essential to us. So for example, in our RV, by doing this challenge, there always used to be stuff actually on this table that we're using to record. There always used to be stuff on this table, but now this table's pretty cleared up of items. And that kind of gave us the realization of how nice it would be to use this as a workspace. But bottom line is, this table doesn't really work out for us that well in our day-to-day lives. But what would work awesome is if we could build a booth dinette in our RV that we can use as then a working space. Because currently we really work from rarely this table. It's more for YouTube, but then we work from our couch. So we said if we have a booth dinette, that would be amazing that we could use more. But I'm telling you, this creativity in our thought and in our home has come from that decluttering process. It has come from our minds being able to clear, right?
Yeah, I feel like we've really been able to focus on like what brings value to us, and then we can focus on that without like getting too much clutter and just have too many things going on at once.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, I mean, if you're thinking about doing this challenge, give this video a thumbs up so we know how many people we're getting on this Less Is Now train. And this is it for Gab and Bren for today, but if you guys are thinking even about doing this video, if you have done this video, leave it down in the comments below and let us know how many items you think you will be able to get rid of. And I guarantee you that you will be surprised of how much junk you have. So guys, it's been Gab and Bren. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch you next time.